friends and family, to today's edition of the Wellness Homesteader. So, it's officially October 1. Today is Tuesday when I'm filming it. And y'all, I do try to get my videos done within a week of when they're going to air, just because it's hard to stay relevant with news events and weather events, etc., if I don't keep them fairly close. So once again, y'all, everyone that was affected by Hurricane Helene, my thoughts, my prayers, my heart goes out to you, that you will find relief and repair to any damage that you had. We officially ended up, let me show you all this, I think you can see, with, see here, 6 inches of rain. Now, this was all the same front that came through here over about 4 days, and we're not out of the woods yet for a possibility of rain. However, tonight it's going to be down in the 40s. So I'm trying to finish up my garden, but I'm also trying to enjoy it as I go along, y'all. You know, fall is my favorite time of the year. I really enjoy spending time outside. But let me tell you what, guys, it is so nasty out there. And the poor girly girl's coop is a wreck. So Uncle Steve will be here on Thursday. What has happened is a mole has tunneled under the coop several times and just pushed up a bunch of dirt, and then is like, I don't think I want to be here with the chickens, gone back down. And so there's dirt piles all around the chicken coop. I mean, thankfully he or she isn't a threat to my chickens. However, you know, over time, the bedding deteriorates, and my girls are spending a lot more time in the coop and run because of the fox situation. I haven't updated you for a while on the fox situation. He is still here. I have not seen him, nor has my camera picked him up on my radar, we'll say. But if you think about being clever like a fox, yes, he killed my marigold. And yes, he hurt my Jolie. She's fine now. But still, I know it was, I mean, she was really sick and puny for about a month, trying to get healed up. I did hear that the best place that a chicken can get attacked is under here. So in the, well, hate to think about eating my chickens, but you know, in what would be the chicken breast. Hold on, guys. What did I knock off? Oh, just a bit. Why is it that making a big noise makes it easier to bend over? Some of it I think is habit, and I have to bend over carefully. My back still isn't right, guys, and it may never be right, and that's okay, as long as I can cope and not have to take a bunch of pain medications, which I don't have to. Anyway, back to the fox. Since he got nothing, because I took Marigold away and chased him off before he could cart her off for his dinner, this was not a good location. And then he came back, if y'all remember, and I caught him trying to dig under the baby coop, which is now inside the big girl coop. And that's a whole nother funny story. So, the neighbor next door has a bit of a different setup. Not that it's unsecure, but they were still letting their chickens free range. And then they had the massive attack, and the foxes come back to their home. Now, I'm not going to give you any details, but it's still alive and hasn't been harmed. But y'all, that fox does not belong in town. I mean, you all have heard the traffic, right? Why can't he play in the street, he or she? You know, just bye-bye fox. And I love animals dearly. You know, I love my chickens, I love my girls. But this is a predator, and it's a predator that should not be robbing hen houses. That's my feel on it. Okay, so there's the update. So y'all, I'm kind of embarrassed to even show you this because this isn't all of them. I have a few hot peppers. So I have my beautiful jalapenos. I let quite a few of my jalapenos go orange. No, wait, is that a jalapeno? Yes. A few went red. So generally I find the more color with this, I think they're called Craig's Atomic jalapenos. They came from rareseeds.com. Anyway, the redder they get, the darker they get. And some are kind of in between. The hotter they are. So this is going to be some good cowboy candy. I also am pleased with my Sugar Rush Peach. That is not easy to say. I don't have as many of those. What my son had gotten some seeds from a fellow that he works with, and he said they're slow to grow, hard to germinate, but once you get a plant, it bears a tremendous amount of fruit, in this case peppers. Y'all, you cannot believe how much they are loaded with. And we are still maybe 2.5 to 3 weeks away from our first frost. I do have loofah that are turning brown. So I'm going to start wrapping up the garden. But for today, being the first day of October, I wanted to share with you, excuse me y'all, fighting the hiccups, right? I want to share with you all a little recipe. Believe me, it's so simple. You'll be like, that ain't a recipe. So I'm always looking for crock-pot meals, number one, if I know that I'm going to can or be busy that day, or maybe even the next day. Not sure if I'll do these today or tomorrow. It'll all be one video for you. And I had bought this at Walmart. It's Eckrich Polska Kielbasa. Now what I will tell you is it has 7 servings per container. I'm gonna call it 6 and I'll share why. And it's fully cooked, made in the US. Have y'all gotten me any cheaters yet? That's sausage and okay, no, that's not what I want. Where's the ingredients? Okay, I don't want to read it because I see the words mechanically separated. I like the way it tastes, but cost-wise, it was under $3. So I was very happy about that. It was like a rollback from Walmart. Okay. I'm not going to do a lot of fancy preparation. I personally like to leave them whole. You can certainly cut them and then cut them in half if you prefer that. And then I have 2 cans of great value sauerkraut. These are $1. I'm so dyslexic. 32. I'm not really dyslexic, guys. I think it's $1.32 a can. Anyway, I will have 6 meals out of this because I have 2 cans for about $1 a meal. And I have some mashed potatoes that I need to get eaten up. So this is going to be like the perfect thing. And I absolutely love it. It is higher in sodium. Let's see. 2 tablespoons has 200 milligrams of sodium in the sauerkraut. So it's not awful. But if you're very salt sensitive, you might want to wash your sauerkraut first. My mother, sorry, Mom, was such a good cook, y'all. She really, really was. But there were certain things she made. Do not eat her kerosene cucumbers. Her pickles, they were awful, awful. She made something called a salt pickle. And she would take a whole cucumber, like the big kosher dills that we grew, and then she brined them. So they were actually more of a fermented pickle. She also did it with corn. I absolutely despised it. But anyway, back to the sauerkraut. She would wash it, which is good to get the salt off. But then she put sugar in it. She put brown sugar in it. And I loved the tang, but I never liked the sweet. I thought it didn't fit together. So today we're not going to put any brown sugar in. So into the crock-pot station we go. And y'all, if you, oh, hi Mommy. My slideshow's playing. I just can't bear to put those pictures so they don't show, because some of them are really good. Anyway, crock-pots are a dime a dozen, y'all. You can find them on sale. You can find them at the Goodwill. Most Goodwills, if y'all didn't know this, will allow you or have a place for you to plug in an appliance. Thrift stores as well. or they will certify that it's working and you can return it if not, which is a pain. But if you can test it, test it. The Crockpot saves me so much time. And honestly, I think it saves me, well, I can't turn that, a lot of money. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to latch the lid on. And I know some of you say don't do that, but I'm going to. And I'm just going to let it go low and slow all day. The last time I went to my son's, he made this for me. Oh my gosh. And he sent some home. And I was finally like, it just made so many meals for me. I was like, I don't think I can eat it again. But I can freeze this into some individual portions. Now, I wouldn't be able to chew it after my dental surgery. Yo, there's something sticky on the counter. Imagine that. Frankie. I just sanitized everything. Gave him a drink and sanitized everything. But it was so, so good and so flavorful and just absolutely delicious. And I'm like, I got all I could eat, you know, consecutive meals because I don't mind monotony. I'll eat it for breakfast, lunch, and supper. I'm fine with that. I know that's kind of a weird breakfast, but it still put me in the mind that I wanted some more. So we're going to have that today with the mashed potatoes, maybe a side of my homegrown green beans or maybe even carrots. I'm not sure which. So I'm going to make a big dinner for myself today and have lots of leftovers. Now there's another recipe I wanted to check with you all and see, so drop me a comment below. I love soup. I love stews. And kind of a thing in our family when you dish up soup is, do you want soup or trash? So trash is any of the solids, like if you're making vegetable soup, vegetable beef stew, soup, or bean soup. Do you want more liquid or do you want more beans? So my son is team trash and I am team liquid. I love the broth. I love liquids. And so I like to make mine pretty volume rich so that I have a lot of broth. My son not only likes the trash, he then puts 8 packs of crackers and he's thin as a rail. But at any rate, would you be interested in some Crocktober soup recipes? I have one that I've printed off. And this came from All Recipes because I've been hankering for some potato soup. So it is a slow cooker potato soup, but it's huge. It calls for 4 pounds of potatoes, and I'm not going to do that. It also calls for 2 cups of heavy whipping cream. I'm not going to consume that. That's a me thing. I will, if we present this, if I present, who's we? Frankie, you gonna help me? He's having snack time. I will probably use just cow's milk. That would be my preference. Do want it creamy, but I don't want 2 cups of whipping cream. And I will probably cut the recipe in half. So let me know, are soups and crockpot recipes something of interest to you? I would certainly like to know. All right, guys, I'm going to clean up this mess. And I've been hunting for my cowboy candy recipe all morning because last year I started putting turmeric in it, which makes them even hotter. But turmeric is really good for inflammation, as is the capsaicin and the hot peppers. So I'm going to kind of let these come to room temperature. I'll give them a good wash off. I'm sure there's more than 4 pounds there, so I've got plenty. And then I'm going to go hunt up my recipe. And whether we do it today or tomorrow, we'll get to canning up some cowboy candy. For those of you who don't know what cowboy candy is, it is sweet pickled jalapenos. It makes a beautiful appetizer for the holidays, just a brick of cream cheese. You pour a jar of the sweet pickled jalapenos over and crackers for dipping. It's always a huge hit. I also like the sweet pickled jalapenos in deviled eggs, egg salad, on burgers. I mean, I just love the hot, spicy taste. And I don't want to let these go to waste. I was shocked at how many I actually had. And you can see there's some, like this one. Yeah, this one I'm not going to use. It's kind of shriveled up. There's a lot of heat stress that went on with these. But peppers are generally late here in Ohio. So I'm not surprised that some of them couldn't bear the heat. Okay, guys, stay tuned, and I'll bring you back when we're ready to do some canning when I find my recipe. Well, happy Wednesday. You'll be seeing this on Thursday. I actually did not do my canning yesterday. Y'all, I'm really trying to have the proper combination of rest and exercise. In between my back and my shoulder, it's been kind of a rough week. But I am feeling better today. So we are going to be canning some Cowboy candy. And if you've never heard of Cowboy candy, really what it is sweet pickled jalapenos. I couldn't find, oh, and I'm having breakfast here, half of an everything bagel with chive and onion, cream cheese. You know, that reminds me of a really quick story. My son growing up had a really expanded palate. He wasn't picky like most kids are. And I'd like to think that's partly because of the way I fed him, but he is a way more adventurous eater than I am. One of the things that he loved raw onion on things, he loved chili dogs. And my dad said, God rest his soul, sometimes he don't smell like a little kid with all the stuff he eats. You know, he wasn't straight up mac and cheese, chicken nuggets. We didn't eat out a lot. I was single for so much of his growing up that I honestly couldn't afford to eat out very often. It was a real treat, but at any rate, we're going to get started. I'm going to eat first, but I did find my recipe. So hold on, guys. You know I can't have everything. So I was like, where on earth did I put that? Oh, Lord. So you can see it's been well loved. There's lots of splashes on it. That's my favorite kind of recipe. They're candied jalapenos or sweet pickled jalapenos. They're savory, sweet, spicy, crunchy, garlicky. They're so good. Put them on sandwiches, tacos, rice, or bake them into cornbread. And they are really good in cornbread, let me share. This was foodiewithfamily.com. Now, I'm not sure, because this was from a blog post, if it's still up, but I will try to link it. So we need 3 pounds of jalapeno peppers. I started calling them peppers, which I've already washed in. Sorry, y'all. Back's still a little sore. I use Young Living's fruit and vegetable wash. I'm almost out, so I need to order some more. I really love how clean it gets everything and that it's done all naturally with thieves or a blend of 5 oils, essential oils that are known to help kill germs. Now, I don't have huge amounts of dirt and I'm growing my produce organically. However, I do have a lot of stray cats. And even with the garden fenced in, sometimes my little black cat, which is not my cat, but she thinks she's my cat, who likes the chickens, she will use the restroom in the garden beds. So I always want to make sure I kill all the germs. So I've measured out my 3 pounds of peppers. I'm going to let them soak for a few minutes while I eat. You'll need 2 cups of cider vinegar, 6 cups of white granulated sugar. Now, y'all, I know I'm diabetic. I've told me that. Excuse me. However, I'm not eating like a cup of these at a time. They're more of an accent. Someone may be wondering, well, I wonder if you could use Splenda. Honestly, y'all, I can't tell you. I like Splenda and I like it. I like the cup for cup a lot from a diabetes standpoint. However, I can't say that they would be water bath safe. I would think if you want to do that, you would have to pressure can it. I am not the USDA. I don't make those recommendations, so I can't really advise you. I'm going to use plain sugar for a couple reasons. One is I like to gift this. Not everyone is a fan of artificial sweetener. I was not a heavy consumer until my diabetes struck. Man, I sound like a victim and I don't mean to, y'all. Okay, half a teaspoon of turmeric. And y'all count how many times I say turmeric instead of turmeric, because it's such a hard word for me. Half a teaspoon of celery seed, 3 teaspoons of granulated garlic, and a teaspoon of ground cayenne. Now, let me just share with you. I am going to put some cayenne in there. I will probably put a little more turmeric. You can play with spices in a canning recipe. What you can't play with are things that help preserve, whether it's sugar or proportions. Sometimes, like cutting back the sugar can be problematic. So what I will do here, and I'm not going to drag you through it all, I'm going to put gloves on. Ask me why. Y'all, if you get those capsaicin oils in your fingers, or if you're at all dry and you touch your face or your eye, you're going to be lit up. Just wear the gloves. So once I get them all prepped, we're going to create a hot sauce with the vinegar and sugar and spices. We're going to boil it for a specific amount of time. And what I will say about this is you do often have a lot of leftover syrup. So I have canned it year after year thinking, I don't want to waste it. Well, when I did my pantry clean out, I cleaned out like 5 years of jalapeno syrup that I've never used. So I'm not sure that I'm going to save it this time. Maybe 1 jar, maybe. So this says that we will be canning for 10 minutes for half pints, which is what I'm going to use, or 15 minutes per pint based on your altitude. So I will do 15 minutes and we'll pull them out. So a very simple recipe. I just, I got a little sidetracked yesterday, maybe on my Lego build. It's not Lego, it's my fun hole build. What I can tell you all, because I've had a lot of interest in the building sets, guys, with the dock strike, just go ahead and start your Christmas shopping if you can afford to, especially if you want toys or something specific. The fun hole items are made in China. The distribution company is US, so I don't know if they're going to be in short supply. I'm usually finished with my Christmas shopping fairly early. I've gotten a few things, but I really only buy for my son, so it's not that big of a deal. And maybe a couple girlfriends, but I make a lot of things too. Anyway, would you like to see my build? Okay, hold on. So I know this looks like a horrible jumble, and it kind of is, but I've started here by building the base, and there is so much detail, y'all. This is going to be a fountain. Here's little draperies. There are stairs. There are lights that will light up, which I think is uber cool. And lights on the inside that will light up. Where's the... Okay, and I think this is the cutest part. This is the squirrel buddy room, I guess. So there's squirrels with their acorns. Now, one thing that has changed is, I think I mentioned there were no decals. So they're going ahead and putting them on the pieces, which I really like. So I'm only on step 2 of 10. But y'all, part of the fun of this is watching it come together and just kind of building at my own pace. I know it makes a big mess in here, but I'll build a little bit and then go do something and build a little bit more. It's been kind of my reward system. Much better than having a, let's have a shot or smoke a cigarette. And I think I've shared with you all, and if I haven't, I will share this. I used to smoke, believe that or not. Not something I'm proud of. It was very common in my growing up years, and with the family, everybody smoked, right? So it will be 9 years, December 26th, since I quit smoking. So my risk of heart disease has pretty much returned to that of a non-smoker, maybe 1 more year. So I'm very happy about that. So I try not to make my rewards anything habit forming. Drinking's not a thing, but the smoking was. Nothing habit forming and nothing too fattening. So let me get my breakfast in. This video is going to be a little bit longer, but I'll try not to bore you to death with the canning process. All right, guys, stay tuned. All right, y'all. Woo, I'm sliding down. Y'all, if any of you have a ring light that you really like clipping your phone to, because I primarily film with my phone, let me know. Because this one's just been like a hot mess the whole time. And I normally mention my shirts. This is one that I made. I had ordered some iron-on appliques, I believe from Amazon, and I believe it was last year. And I just went to the Dollar General and got a V-neck t-shirt. So I've got lots and lots of fall and Halloween, so I'm gonna wear them every day. So we're over at the stove. What have I done? Well, the first thing I did was I went ahead, I had weighed these out, washed, rinsed, soaked, did all the cleaning parts, pardon me, hiccups, and then sliced our jalapenos, and I did use gloves and wash my hands really well. On the stove here, let me show you this concoction. So this is the syrup, and I'm going to read the ingredients to you. I will try to link it. I didn't check online to see if it was still there. It probably is. So you need 3 pounds of fresh, firm jalapenos. Of course, take the stem end off, any blemishes off, and just slice them. So this is 2 cups of apple cider vinegar, 6 cups, yes, I said 6, of granulated sugar. And I did have to laugh because since finding out I'm diabetic, I haven't touched my sugar because I haven't been making a lot of things like this. So I got plenty of sugar still in hand. Half a teaspoon of turmeric. Guys, I used a teaspoon. That's my preference, but that's not what the recipe calls for. Half a teaspoon of celery seed, 3 teaspoons or a tablespoon of granulated garlic, and a teaspoon of ground cayenne. I did cut the cayenne back just slightly because I know these peppers are hot. I coughed through the whole time prepping them. So now what are we doing? Well, I did just turn this on, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring it to a boil. Then we're going to reduce the heat and simmer for 5 minutes. Isn't this a gorgeous color? The turmeric. So far I'm for I haven't said turmeric once. I hear it pronounced both ways, but technically it is turmeric. All right, guys, I'm going to let this come up to temperature, come up to boil, and then I'm going to simmer it for 5 minutes. Bring it back up to the boil, and we'll add our pepper slices, and I'll bring you back at that time. So what did I decide to use to can with? Well, I pulled out my Ball Fresh Tech canner, and ignore the water spots on it. I love this thing. This is probably my favorite investment because it holds so many jars. I did put 9 jars in there. This makes 4 to 6 half pints. I was pretty generous on my jalapeno weights because I wanted to be sure that I could get the most out of it and also use the syrup as well. I also wonder if I could save this syrup and maybe even freeze it. I don't know why you couldn't. The only problem is I don't know how to add to that to make a full batch. I guess you could just use half batch measurements. So I washed my jars in hot soapy water. I put my jars in here, rinse them well, and down here it has the temperature control. I'll usually turn it like midway between medium and high, and that gives time for all of this water, and I do put warm water in it to heat up. It'll cycle back and forth on and off. So our jars will be hot when we're ready to start ladling things in and wiping the rims and sealing them. So I'll bring you back shortly. Oh, how beautiful is this Cowboy candy? It is just stunning with all the colors. Let me tell you, try not to breathe over it between the vinegar and the hot peppers. I've coughed my guts out. But anyway, so I brought it up to a boil, reduced it to a simmer, let it simmer for 5 minutes. Turn the heat back up. Added all my peppers. I will bring it back to a boil, and it does say simmer exactly 4 minutes. So at that point, we will then be able to take out our peppers and fill our jars. But we have to boil the syrup, the remaining syrup, to add to the jars for 6 additional minutes. So I'll try to step that out for you. Right now, we're going to bring this to a boil, let it boil 4 minutes, and then we can put the peppers into the jars. Wow, I got a lot of cat hair on me, don't I? Sorry about that, guys. All right, I'll see you then. Boiling is complete. over here we have our syrup with the peppers in. I just took these hot jars out of the canner, and I will tell you all, this stuff is like molten lava, the syrup, you know, being melted sugar. So please be very careful, use your hot mitts. I'm not terribly concerned that the jars will cool down too much. I'm just not. I've never found that to be a huge issue. And again, guys, don't breathe over it. So yeah, I'm just going to fill all the jars. Then what I will have left is the syrup. And you'll notice I always do extra jars, y'all. Because jars I don't, it's a problem. And I'm not packing it quite as full as I did last year. Reason for that being there was almost no liquid syrup in the final product. I had too much liquid, so to speak, left, and the product is still very good, but I like it with the additional liquid. It just makes the peppers moister, and especially if you're doing them over cream cheese, it's just a nice little sweet hot tang. So I did do some extra ones, but I think we're gonna end up with about 6. And for whatever reason, y'all, I can't find a bigger slotted spoon than this. I'm using this big spoon. But you get the gist. And then back to the stove I'll go, and I will boil the syrup for 6 minutes. And I'll bring you back at that time. Well, you may be hearing the canner kind of coming up to temperature. I did turn the temperature up. We've boiled our syrup 6 minutes, and this recipe does not specify headspace. So whenever I get a recipe like that, because this isn't strictly a jam or a jelly, it's more of a relish, I'm not gonna get it overly full. What I will tell you, I'm gonna go to the bottom rim. You definitely have to debubble, adjust your liquid if you need to. And guys, I'm here to tell you, if you're gonna have a seal failure, it could be with this. As you see, I've gotten, see the turmeric, gotten some on the edges. We'll put a, wow, is that ever hot, ball and ring. And then I just like to load them in the canner one at a time. So let me get these filled into the canner. Processing time for 1,000 feet or below is 10 minutes. I'm at 1,009. Sorry. So I'm gonna do like 15. All right, y'all, I ended up with 6 jars of Cowboy candy, 6 half pints, and 3 of just the liquid. And I thought, why not can it? And then if I want to do a half batch or a small batch, I should have a gracious plenty, and I don't have to waste the ingredients or remake the syrup. So I've turned the Ball Fresh Tech canner over to canning. I will wait till it comes to a full rolling boil, and then I will start timing. When the time is up, I'll take off the lid, but I will leave it set kind of open to air to equalize the heat, the pressure, etc. for about 10 minutes. I'll bring you back and we'll take a peek at our final jars. Now, y'all may think I'm rushing the seasons a little bit, but this is on YouTube. Let me show you. It's Skating in Central Park with Peanuts, and it's just some really cool music, which I can't play because of copyright. So there's all kinds of relaxing screensavers you can put on if you're having an event or a meal or a dinner party whatsoever. I've got the dishes washed, the canner's bubbling away, and we'll be back shortly with thoughts to wrap this up. All right, y'all, I'm super excited. Let me ignore that. Let me show you how beautifully these turned out, and they'll kind of sink down as they cool. Believe it or not, all 9 jars have already sealed. I love the 4 jars lids. I am not affiliated. I don't have a discount code, but if you go over to 3 Rivers Homestead and click on the More button below almost any video, I think she shares her code for 5 or 10% off. I'm not sure, but savings is savings, right? So it's going to be a busy next couple of days for me. I am so glad you took time out of your busy schedule to watch me. And if you would do me a big favor, go ahead and smash that like button. Y'all, we're at 7,400 subscribers, which I never thought would happen. And I'm grateful for each and every one of you, whether you're new or returning. You are my people. You're my tribe. And I just appreciate you all so much. If you would also do me a favor, if you know someone that would enjoy this content, could you share my video or share it to your social media and suggest maybe they would like to subscribe because it's free. All right, guys, I plan to see you all, let me think, on Thursday. I don't know whether I will have Uncle Steve and Mai's work edited and uploaded, but what I plan to do are the things I can do. He's going to do a lot of the digging. I don't shovel because of my back and my shoulder and my age. And he's not that much younger than me. He's just in better shape. So I'm going to be working a lot on the chicken coop, but I also want to try to finish up what I can in the garden. It's not all done yet. So over the next couple weeks, I will be finishing that up. May have some more peppers. I won't bring you another video just the same. But now I have those 3 jars of the syrup. And even if I only can make a partial batch, that will give me a few extra jars for gifting or eating. Okay, guys, until I see you again, don't forget to leave me a comment. Let me know how things are going for you. Are your gardens finished up? How's your weather? Are the floodwaters receding if you were thus affected? But until I see you again, be healthy, be well, be blessed, and take care.